We are coming up to Purim and Pesach, and we have the kavanot, not only in tefillah of a daily kavanot, but we have kavanot about the parshas and Purim and Pesach. So we'll try to do what we can so that we're properly prepared for Purim and Pesach. All right, so I wrote down here, I'll explain as we go on. I gave the main points, so we'll talk about them as we begin. But just let me give you a little bit of an introduction. You take a look on the left top side, top left side here. It says, B'Nisan Nivra Ha'olam. In Nisan, the world was created, Lefi Rabbi Yoshua. Underneath that, it says, Olav Machshava B'Tishrei Quent Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, so we'll just think about that for a moment. There's a machlokes in the Gemara when the world was created. And it's always, everybody's interested. We want to know when it was created. So we have two Tanaim. Rabbi Eliezer says it was created in Tishrei. And Rabbi Yeshua says it was created in Nisan. Well, how could there be such a machlokes about something so basic? How could there be an argument about that? Why isn't that certain? And, if we have the Torah just tells the truth. Why is there such a dichotomy in such a basic fact that it's important to know? So the Arizal, he says, there's no real machlokas. Both are right. Both are true. But they're talking about different aspects of the creation. The lower one, as it says there, Machshava Tishrei, is Rabbi Eliezer. He says Hashem decided in his mind that he wanted to do it in Tishrei. And not that he had to think about it for 6 months, but how to do it. Whatever happened from Tishrei until Nisan, I don't know what happened then, but it actually was not created until Nisan. So the actual creation took place in Nisan. And the machshava that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had, the ratzon that he had to do it, was in Tishrei. So therefore, there's no real machlokas. Each one is talking about a different part of the creation.
It's not a secondary point. It's not a secondary point. What happened in 6 months?
I didn't look into it. I mean, obvious things would happen, of course. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't have the information handy right now. But that's what the Arizal says is the explanation, so that there's no real machlokes. But they both agree with each other. But when they presented it in the Mishnah, they only wrote the heading, the chapter heading. Rabbi Eliezer says that it was created in Tishrei, and he says it was created in Yoshua. And everybody, according to in the time of the Mishnah, realized that they were talking about different aspects. They really weren't arguing. Rabbi Eliezer, in the time when he wrote his Mishnah, people understood that he means some part of the creation, not the entire creation. And Rabbi Yeshua, he also was some part of it. What is the part? So Rabbi Yisrael says it actually happened, physically in Nisan, but the machshavos, that happened in Tishrei. Okay, fine. So once we have that the world was created actually in Nisan. So before the creation, there were obviously in Shemayim things going on. And what happens in the physical world is it always just the last step in what's going on in the spiritual world. The spiritual world, there are things going on at the same time and beforehand. So we know that the entire world is dependent on the Shem Hashem. You have to understand this, Rabbi say. This is something which is touching on the Kabbalah, but Baal Shem Tov also that we're learning also touches on the Kabbalah. Chassidus and the Kabbalah are very closely related. And the Shem Hashem, the Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, seems to be the core, the core of the energy that is powering the world. Let's understand that. The core of the energy that powers the world is the Shem Hashem. Inside the Shem Hashem, you have the essence of Hashem himself. The Shem, the letters, are only an external representation. The real essence of what's making the world go round is Hashem himself, not the letters, but the letters are a representation. The letters also have a koach. They're not just stam letters. They have a koach. And this koach is a koach, a very powerful koach. It's the koach of din. When things have to get done, we use the letters. And it's a very interesting thing. I'll tell you something. We say, before Shmona Esrei, every single day, Adonai V'sai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilasech. Right? Ufi Yagid Tehilasech. How much is Yagid? Yagid is Yud, 10, Gimel, 3, another Yud is another 10, it's 23, and Dalid, 4, 27. 27. So if you take the Aleph base has 22 letters, correct? 22 letters, and 5 of them are doubles. They're called mansapach. 5 of them are doubles. The mem,
capital.
no, not capital. Finals. 5 the mem, final mem,
Right.
final nun, called mansapach. So altogether you have 27 letters, right? Those 27 letters are all midas hadin because they all are powerful and they have a lot of koach and they have the power of creation. And we want to sweeten the power of din. So we say, Adonai V'sai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tilasecha. We should think that we want to sweeten the koach of din. Now that we're going to speak to Hashem Shmona Esrei and we're asking Him for rachamim, for tachanunim, we want to sweeten the koach of din before we actually start the Shmona Esrei. So we're using the Aleph base, which is the representative of the din, and it also has the Aleph base in it, and it has a power to cause things to happen. The Aleph base is very interesting. You know, when I was younger and I got married, so you bring then all the Sidurim, so Friday night you should say Eishes Chayil. Eishes Chayil, we sing it. Eishes Chayil, Meyimtza V'rocha V'pnimim. Very good. So when do they do that? Everybody's hungry, come home from shul, we want to make Kiddush and sit down to eat. So we made Kiddush, sit down to eat, after we had the first course, after the fish. So we say Eishes Chayil. Who is the Eishes Chayil for? The Eishes Chayil for the wife. She's preparing the food, she cooks. Then she's all the tircha she has, and we're giving her some hakaras hatov, thanking her, appreciating the work that she did preparing the Shabbos. That was what I did it in the beginning. And the last years, I changed my minhag. In the Sidurim, all these Birkonim, you see, Eishes Chayil is brought down before Kiddush. So, why is it brought down before Kiddush? So I said, it's not halach in Shulchan Aruch. It's in the Siddur before Kiddush, it's okay, but it's not halach in Shulchan Aruch. So I said it after Kiddush, because people are hungry, want to have something to eat, to say it afterwards. The same appreciation to the wife can come after the Kiddush also, it has to be beforehand. But why is it beforehand? That I learned later on, and now I do it both. I do it before and after. Why does it do it beforehand? You know why? Because Shabbos is such a powerful day. It's whatever happens on Shabbos, we say it's the makor of bracha for the entire week. Shabbos is not only the end of the week, of the previous week, the seventh day, it also has within it the roots of bracha for the following week. And that's why when you have a marriage, you give the ofruf before the chasana. The Shabbos before you give the ofruf. You don't give him the ofruf, the aliyah Torah afterwards, you give him before. Because the roots of the bracha come from the Shabbos, and we want the brachas of the Shabbos that we are going to have before it to give bracha to the chasana that's going to be in the middle of the week. So the ofruf is beforehand. So if Shabbos is the makor of bracha, says in the Svarim HaKadoshim a very interesting thing. Where does the bracha come to from Shabbos? It comes from Hashemayim. Hashem gives the bracha into the Shabbos. But how does it get there? How does the bracha come from Hashem into the Shabbos? You know how it comes through? This is amazing. It comes through the Aleph Beis. The Aleph Beis is not only a source of energy, but it opens up all of the pipes, all the tzinorot. It opens up all the pipes so that bracha can come from Shemayim into the Shabbos. And how do you arouse that bracha? By saying the Eishes Chayil before Kiddush. Because Kiddush is already giving the bracha.
All the 27 letters?
No, 22. 22. Eishes Chayil has 22 letters. The Matzah are doubles. But the main one is the 22 letters. Therefore, I say Eishes Chayil now before Kiddush to open up all the channels so the bracha can come down. The Matzah is Midas Hadin even more, even stronger. So we want to do that before Shemona Esrei. So we have that. So therefore, you say Ofi Yagid. When I say Shem Tov Tiftach Ofi Yagid Hilasecha, have to have kavanah. I want to sweeten the Midas Hadin. I want to open up all the portals of Rachamim before it. So I say that before Shemona Esrei. But this is why we say the Eishes Chayil before Kiddush, to open up all the channels of bracha, so that when I start the Kiddush and make the bracha already, I'm bringing the bracha into the house, going to the week, whatever the bracha has to be, it's there. So we talked about that because we were talking about the letters of the Shem Hashem. The Shem Hashem, the Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, that's what powers everything. Powers everything. And when the world started out in Nisan, everything was in the right place. And now it's all fit into the pasuk. Take a look in your page on the left side there. It says Yisbachu Hashamayim V'Sagel Haaretz. You see that on the left side there? Yisbachu Hashamayim V'Sagel Haaretz. That starts the Rosh Tevos. Yud Hey Vav Hey. Yismechu Hashamayim V'Sagel Haaretz. The Shemayim is happy. The land is happy. Gila. And it's all in the right order. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. So when we start this process now, leading up to Pesach, every year there's a review of the original energies, the order and the energies, and we want to strengthen them and make sure that everything is in the right place. So when Pesach comes, everything will start anew, and we have all the bracha, all the Yeshua we're supposed to have. Maybe he said, Bezat Hashem, this year Pesach, not only Zeichel L'tzias Mitzrayim, maybe it'll be Tchias HaMesim. Some say, the Zohar says, when's Tchias HaMesim going to take place? Pesach, all those precious neshamas that were nifter in this last couple of months. Shem Yerachem. They should all have a revival, all come back to life, and we should have the real Gula. The real Gula should come Pesach. The Gula Shleima, be such a Kiddush Hashem all over the world. Imagine. All right, so that's the Yud Hey and the Vav Hey. Now, we have the Yud Hey and the Vav Hey all connected to the Parshas leading up to Pesach. If you take a look on the right side bottom, You see on the right side bottom, you have going from the bottom up. You have nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. See that? Nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. Now it's not. When she made the copies, she didn't get the edge. The edge of the page she left out. Not the edge. You could put next to it. If you want to write it in for yourself, you should have it under nefesh. It's the hey, achrona. Ruach is the vav. Neshama is the first hey. The chaya is the yud. And the yechida is the kotz hayud. It is the little spitz on top of the yud. It's not even a letter.
What is neshama?
Neshama is
Hey.
the hey. The yud hey vav hey. It's the first hey after the yud. Start from the bottom up. Nefesh is the last hey. Vav is the ruach. Neshama is the second hey. Chaya is the yud. And the yechida is the little spitz on top of the yud called the kotz hayud. So all those have to be strengthened. We want to prepare everything so that when Pesach comes, we'll all be ready for the Geula. And the preparation, you know when it starts? It starts this coming Shabbos. This coming Shabbos. This coming Shabbos, Parshas Shkolim. This coming Shabbos is Shabbos Mevorchin, and it's also Parshas Shkolim. And this, if you see on the page there, it says, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. It's not only that we're strengthening the Shem Hashem, we're also building up our soul. Our soul is split up into 5 parts, and the first part, the lowest part, is that of the Nefesh, and we're strengthening that this coming Shabbos with Parshas Shkolim. So it's the whole week actually leading up to Parshas Shkolim, but Parshas Shkolim is the main emphasis, is the main, I would say, koach. When the strengthening, the chizuk takes place, it's on Shabbos. Okay. Now, look at the top of the page on the right side. It says there, hey tata. That means the lowest hey. It's the last hey of the Shem Hashem. We start from the bottom up. The last hey, that is equal to nefesh. If the hay and our nefesh, they have an association with each other. If we strengthen the hay, we strengthen the nefesh, and we do that with the machzes hashekel. We'll take a look at the word shekel. It's shin kuf lamed. Shin kuf lamed, that comes out in gematria to 430. 430, and that equals, surprisingly enough, to nefesh. Nefesh is also 430. The nun pei is 1580 is 130, and the shin is another 300. 130 and 300 is 430. So you think it's just a coincidence that nefesh and shekel are the same thing? It's not a coincidence at all. By giving the machzes hashekel, we are strengthening and preparing and giving the koach to the hay, achrona, the hay, and it will be leading to the next one afterwards, which is Parshas Zohar. Now, we understand that the nefesh and NACHLAOT have to do with deeds. What is it in a person that enables him to act and to move? What is it? We have the soul is split up into 5 parts. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. Which part of the soul is involved with movement, with action? The answer is it's the Nefesh. The Nefesh is involved with movement and all kinds of things. That's why, interestingly enough, you ever think about this? When you have a Siyum Masechta, so you make a Suda. You have a bris, you make a Suda. Pidyon Haben, make a Suda. Chasana, you make a Suda. All these things are mitzvahs. It's a mitzvah. Make a bris milah. It's a mitzvah. You do a Pidyon Haben, a mitzvah. You finish a Masechta, make a Siyum. So you see him. See means to end. So you end it. Why is there a Suda attached? What does a Suda have to do with it? What does Shem told Avram Avinu, make a bris milah. So did Avram Avinu make a Suda afterwards? They have the bris milah. What does the Suda have to do with the bris milah? A mitzvah is something that comes from the Shemayim. It's something spiritual. It's an act that we do. What does it have to do with eating? Why do you have to eat all the time when you have a Suda's mitzvah? You get married. So you put the ring on the finger, and you have a chuppah. Now you're my wife. That's all. Before you were single. Now you're a married woman. I give you a ksuppah, I give you the ring, whatever it is. You're my wife. Finished. We did it. What do you have to sit down and eat for? What do you have to invite the whole world? I don't understand what's the eating have to do with anything.
Simcha Mishta, they get together.
But I'm asking why? Why? Why is there this Indian of the eating? What does that have to do? It's so beautiful. I'm telling you, it's so beautiful. We have 5 parts of the soul. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Chida. When I learn Torah, I make a siyum Masechta. Which part of my soul is active in the learning? So you have to take a look there. You have the Dibur, you could say the speech, that has to do with Ruach, with the wind, with my breath. It's Ruach. I have to use my head when I'm learning Torah, so I can understand the Machshava also has a joy when you finish the Masechta. But there's one part of me that doesn't have a chelik in the mitzvah. That also wants to share. What is that? That's the chelik hanefesh. That part of the body that's involved in physical activity, like eating. That part also wants to have a share in the bris milah. Wants to have a share in the chasana. Wants to have a share in the siyum masechta. Came along the rabbis, Rabbanim, they're so considerate, they're so beautiful, they understand everything. Said, do a taiva for your nefesh. Your nefesh also wants to have a chelik in the mitzvah. So take food and say the food is not you just eating stam, you're eating to celebrate the mitzvah. So it becomes a seudas mitzvah, and now when your nefesh will eat, when you eat, that part of you also will have a share in the mitzvah. Not only the learning, your mind and your mouth, but also that part of you, the physical side that involved itself in action, in eating and things like that, that also can now take part of the mitzvah. So that's the nefesh. So now we understand very well why Parsha Shkolim this week has to do with the nefesh. Why? Because what are you doing on Parsha Shkolim? You're celebrating the giving of the machzis hashekel. Coming up now, what's coming up? Coming up, leading up to Nisan. There's a lot of karbanos that they brought. First of all, you have the Korban Tamid every single day. You have Parshas HaChodesh, the special karbanos of Rosh Chodesh, and all Pesach and Chol HaMoed. There are a lot of karbanos that had to be brought. The Beis HaMikdash doesn't have any money by itself. Where's the money from the Beis HaMikdash come from? It comes from Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael donates the money to the Beis HaMikdash. They buy the karbanos. And what do you use? You use the machzis hashekel. Everybody is equal. Everyone gives a half a shekel. And therefore it has to do with the nefesh. Because the nefesh deals with action, with things that the body does. And therefore, that's action. You take money, you give it to the Gabbai in the Beis HaMikdash, and he puts it aside, and he buys with that the karbanos that are necessary for the Chagim coming up. And therefore, this Shabbos is called Parsha Shkolim. When we read the Parsha of Machzis Hashekel. So you're going to ask me a very good question. But we don't give Machzis Hashekel. And there is no Beis HaMikdash. Right? So So how do we do? What are we doing? The answer is Machshava Tova HaKadosh Baruch Hu Matzaref L'Maaseh. If you want to do a mitzvah and you are held up not by any reason of your own guilt, you're held up because for some reason or other you're prevented from doing them, but you have a desire. You want to do the mitzvah. So if you have that desire that want to do the mitzvah, Kadosh Baruch Hu is such a Baal Chesed, he will consider it as if you did the mitzvah itself. and I'll tell you a very important klal. It's based on a klal that the Zohar was megala to us. We are all made up of, let's call it, two halves. We have our physical side, and we have our mental, our spiritual side. And I asked you a question, a loaded question. The Zohar asks, where is a person? Where is really a person? Where are you? So you say, well, I'm sitting now here in King George. I'm sitting here. I'm giving a share, listening to a share. That's where I am. I'm here inside.
His mind is.
Hear what Yaakov Meir said? Hear what he said? Rav Shimon bar Yochai says that's not where the person is. The person is where his mind is. That's where you really are.
Victor Frank.
Huh?
Victor Frank.
He said that too?
That's the song. He survived the Holocaust.
Well, okay. So he may have gotten it somehow trickled down to him from the Zohar.
Yeah.
He was Jewish.
No,
Yeah. Because you really are where your mind is. So if my mind is, Hashem, I wish the base of Midrash would be here. If it would be here, I would be so happy to give the Machzor Shekel. And what am I doing? There's no base of Midrash. At least I'm going to read the psukim which talk about it. So we add to the Kriyas Torah from Maftir, we read Parshas Shkolim. So Hashem says, you have such a desire, you have such a machshava. I'm going to consider it by me as if you gave the Machzor Shekel. So you have to remember that. You take this sheet with you to shul and keep it in front of you and remind you, this Shabbos, we're going to read the Parshas Shkolim, that it is making a tikkun in your nefesh, because the nefesh is something which does ma'aseh. So you consider it as, don't worry about it Shabbos. It's muktzah on Shabbos, but it doesn't matter. You're not giving it. You're not handling any money. It's just a machshava. So you're allowed to read about it and talk about it. Hashem will consider it as if you gave the Machzor Shekel. Okay. So that's, remember for that for this Shabbos. Now, the question is, why is it called Machzor Shekel and not give a shekel? Why Machzor Shekel? It's very interesting. It's very interesting. We say that the Machzor Shekel corresponds to the last hay. The last hay of the Shem Hashem. Right. The last hay of the Shem Hashem, if you take a look on your sheet, where it says Machzor Shekel, you have on the left side of hay, it's the receiver. What does it mean it's the receiver? It means that the three letters above it, the Yud, Hey, and Vav, they are the givers. They give down all the spiritual energy, the Kedusha, they give it down to below, to the Hey. So you could say that the Shem Hashem is split up into two. Even though the first part is three letters and the second part is one letter, but you can split them up into the givers and to the receivers. The receivers are the Hays. So therefore it's called Machzis, because it has a different role. It's a role of receiving. What does it receive? It receives the Kedusha from the Yud, Hey, and Vav, which are the givers. If they're the givers, that's one half, and the second half is called the receivers, even though it's only one letter, and therefore it's called Machzis HaShekel. Okay. The next thing I have on the sheet here is, what did they do with the Machzor Shekel? Besides buying the korbanos, they also used the Machzor Shekel to buy or to build the Adonai HaKesef. The Adonai HaKesef were the structures that they had on the bottom of the Beis HaMikdash. When they had these beams, the krashim, that encircled the Beis HaMikdash, gave it its frame. The Adonai HaKesef were the base into which they put the krashim. And the word Adonai, Adon, is also Midas Hadin. So we can understand how the Kesef, the Adonai HaKesef, Amidas Hadin. They are holding up the structure of the Beis Hamikdash, of the Mishkan, and its word Adnei is din, and therefore it fits in very well with money, which is also the union of Midas Hadin.
Just understand, the Adane and the pieces were, the krashim were put inside.
Yes, it was like a square with a hole in the middle, and inside the hole they put the krashim. That held it in place. Held it in place. Okay. Another thing we learned from here, I have on the sheet in front of you, we are talking about the lowest level, the nefesh. It has to do with the gashmias, with the physical side. You're supposed to use it l'shem shemayim. This is why we were given a body. We're not given the body so the body should become self-indulgent and just satisfying itself. Everything that we do with our body, all physical acts that we do, should all be directed to a service of Hashem. Like the Adonai Kesef. We're taking money, we're taking gold, we're taking silver, whatever it is, and we're using it for the service of Hashem, providing the proper, let's call it boundaries, or bound for the krushim to fit into. We're using it to build the Mishkan, to build the Beis Hamikdash. And therefore, we have to learn from that, as a rule, that our nefesh, our bodies, are supposed to be directed to the service of Hashem, not to be indulgent in self-satisfaction. So when we eat, I'm eating for Hashem.
Can we say the nefesh is like the Adane?
Yes, there's a connection. It's correct. It's the right. One is for the soul, yeah, and the Adonai are the materials in the Beis Hamikdash. That's the soul, because it holds the entire Mishkan was supported by the Adanim.
And what is the krashim?
The krashim, well, maybe a different part of the nefesh. It's also something which is solid. It's something Ashmi. But that's the lowest part is the Adanim. Okay. Nefesh is Lem Shemaim, and once you have the lowest part in the correct direction, you're using it for the right reasons, then it says on the left side, once you set up the situation to receive, you will get from Shemayim. If you direct yourself to receive, you get from Shemayim. I want to tell you something, a little interesting anecdote about myself. When I was a young man, I lived in America, New York. And I came into the age for Shidduchim, and people would suggest this girl. Before I even started on Shidduchim, I was thinking about myself, where do I want to live my life? Where do I want to live my life? I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Actually, I was born and raised in Crown Heights, where 770 was. I wasn't ever a Lubavitcher Chassid, although I was friends with a lot of them, and I used to go there on time and for Farbrengen, for Hakofas. I went from time to time. I didn't live more than a few minutes away, that's all. So I went from time to time. I never became a Lubavitcher Chassid. I was brought up in the Litvischer world. So I had my Rabbi, I had my Rosh Hashivas. I didn't have any lacking. There was no void that I had to fill. So I had my spiritual world, and fine. But I was wondering, hey, I'm going to get married now. Where do I want to live my life? So I decided, and I was thinking about, life at that time. This is not a place for a Jew. Not a place for a Jew to live. We're in Gullus, true. We don't have the Beis Hamikdash. We're in Gullus. But I'm looking around in New York.
What year was it?
When I started to think this way. Oh, I don't remember. When I became,
Roughly.
Figure, let's say, 50, 70 years ago. No, 60 years ago. 60 years ago.
That was not long ago.
And not so long. And I'm thinking, people are suggesting me, shidduchim, where do I want to live my life? What do I want to do? So I'm thinking, do I want to live here? I knew about Eretz Yisrael. I was never in Eretz Yisrael at that time. I never made a trip, never visited. But I knew, what Eretz Yisrael was about. Of course, I'm learning Torah the whole time. And I says, this is not a place for a Jew. You're surrounded by all these, blacks and browns and what's going on here in this tumistic world of New York. As great as it was and pleasant as it was for Jews, there are a lot of Jewish communities there, religious communities. Hasidish or Satmar was in New York. All the Hasidim, Baviv, they all had places in New York. All the Rabbi were in New York, all there. But they also were in Galus. I said to myself, this is not a place that I want to spend the rest of my life. The place for a Jew is to be in Eretz Yisrael. That is the natural place for a Jew.
Was it better at that time, Israel?
At that time, it was quiet. It was quiet. You wouldn't hear about Milchamas and anything.
But religiously, it was Filoni.
There were no religious Jews in Eretz Yisrael. Of course there were. There were yeshivas. There wasn't yeshivas here. Of course there were yeshivas here. Yes, there was Panovich and Hebron and other yeshivas were here. There were yeshivas here.
There was Kfar Chabad still.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Yeah, in Eretz Yisrael.
In the 50.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So you had plenty of religious Jews here too. I always just had it in my heart that this is the place to live. Not to spend, even though I went to college and I had degrees and all kinds of things, and I got smicha, and my Rosh Hashiva wanted me to be a Rav in America. In my heart, I knew this is not a place for a Jew to live. This is not the place. The place is naturally in Eretz Yisrael. A Jew is a holy person. Eretz Yisrael is Eretz HaKadosha. That's the place for a Jew to live. So, Lemaisa, when people used to recommend me a girl, a shidduch, my first question was, would she be willing to go to Eretz Yisrael to live? If she said no, I'm not interested. Not interested. So what happened? I met, a bunch of girls, and then one day my Rosh Hashiva says to me, he had been my Rosh Hashiva a dayan in Vilna before World War II. He was a dayan already in Vilna in the Bezdin of Chaim Oizer, the Adam Gadol. He's considered one of the Gedolei Torah of his generation. One day he says to me, Naftali, I decided I'm going to Eretz Yisrael. Why did he tell me that personally? Because I was very close to him. And I saw that I wasn't married yet. I was still single. So it was easy to me. I didn't establish any roots yet in America, even though I was living with my family, with my parents. I didn't establish any roots from. So I saw he's been meramis to me that he wanted me to come with him. Because I was very close with him at that time. So I said to him, I was sitting in the car with him at the time when he told me this. I said to him, they don't need rabbis like me in Eretz Yisrael. Much bigger told me than me there. They don't need me there. And I won my college degrees. They don't need me in Eretz Yisrael. What am I going to add to Eretz Yisrael? He's already hinting to me that he wants me to come along with him. So he says to me, you're right, but there's always room for new kaiches. That was the answer. When he said that, I said to him, Rebbe, believe that I'm coming with the Rebbe. Rebbe's going, I'm going also. So he left New York. I was learning with him already over 10 years. My yeshiva was in Crown Heights, not far from Chabad. I learned with him for 10 years. He had given me smicha already. He left in June, come to Eretz Yisrael, and I came 2 or 3 months later in Elul. I came in Elul to Eretz Yisrael. And I still wasn't married. And then I became very close with another mishpacha that was living here near the yeshiva, here in Rechavia. They invited me very often to come to them. So I would come to them for a meal here and there. And they had a relative who had a girl staying by them in New York. She was a single girl also. And they said, this would be a good shidduch. So she came for a visit to Teretz Yisrael. And they made us meet, and that's my wife until today. See, what do I want to say? I want to say this. The whole point was what? When you want to do something, l'shem shamayim, and you're sincere, and you're honest, and no shtick, you really want to do it right, Hashem will help you. I didn't have any dreams of how am I going to get to Eretz Yisrael? When am I going to go? How am I going to? All I knew is that I knew in my heart that's the place where a Jew to live. Hashem worked it out. I didn't know my Rosh Hashiva's plans. He says to me one day, I'm going to Eretz Yisrael. He wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael from Vilna. In World War II, he wanted to go straight from Vilna to Eretz Yisrael. But for whatever reason it was, he got distracted or what it is, told him people to temporarily go to America. So he went to America. So I had the schus. He went there, and then from there, we both went here. So, but the point is, what you really try to do, the right thing, with your nefesh. You want to do the right thing, Hashem will help you. That's the rule. So also here, you give the machzah shekel. You can't do more than reading it. You read the parsha machzah shekel, you read it. But you're supposed to take what the Gashmi stick aside and be meshabed to avodas Hashem. So Mamela, you will get because Hashem knows that's what you want. That's the way it's supposed to work. It starts from the bottom and then it comes down from above. So that's the first level is the Bachse Shekel. That's this week. Okay. Take a look. We'll just have a quick review on the right side on the bottom. I start from the bottom up. The Nefesh, we spoke about, that's Parshas Shkolim. The Ruach, that's the next level of our neshama that has to have also a tikkun. Ruach is the wind, that's dibur, speech. And that's when we read Parshas Zochor. Parshas Zochor comes in the next one. It's not going to be the week afterward. There'll be a pause in between. The next one is Parshas Zochor. Then we want to give a tikkun to the neshama. The neshama, that deals with machshava. So we have to purify the mind. That's para aduma. Parshas para has to do with tahara. Before you go into Chodesh Nisan, you have to purify yourself. Because Chodesh Nisan is a new world opens up. Chodesh Nisan is the Chodesh of creation. You're starting the system all over again. So before you do that, you have to have tahara. In the same way, before you go into shul, if you really want to know the truth, before you go into shul, you're entering into a new area, an area of kedusha. The truth is, before a person goes to shul, he should really go to the mikveh first. That is the proper way to do it. Because we are chol. We're chol. We're mundane. We're worldly. We want to go into an area which is a higher level. It's holy. It has kedusha. So how do you do that? When you buy a vessel, a utensil, you buy a pot, you buy a set of glasses. I'm talking about not earthenware. You buy glassware or you buy metalware. You buy silverware. It's brand new. It was never used. But you're buying it before you use it. You have to title it in the mikveh. It's brand new. It didn't become tamei. Why do I have to title it in the mikveh? You know why? Because, assuming that it was made by goyim, if it were Jewish manufacturers in it, or even partners, then you don't have to title it. But if you buy something that comes from China or whatever it is, and it comes from all over the world, you don't know. You assume that it was made by goyim. Before you use it, you have to title it. Why? because it's coming from Chol to Kodesh. To come from Chol for Kodesh, you have to be Ra'ui. And therefore, it has to go with the Tefillah. Tefillah's Kalim. Not only does a person have to tevel himself, but even the Kalim that we use, Jewish people are a holy nation. We just don't take things and use them. Before it comes into our personal use, we want to make sure that it is proper Kli, that it has been teveled. And therefore, you buy a new Kli made out of metalware or glassware, it requires Tefillah in a mikvah. And not only Tefillah in a mikvah, with a bracha. With a bracha. Earthenware doesn't have to be teveled. Somehow it doesn't seem to be makabel the tumah. Kli teres. Kli teres doesn't have to have tefillah. Only metalware or glassware have to have tefillah before they come into the use in our kitchen.
The kitchen, but you said the glasses?
Not these glasses. Glasses that you drink from.
Ah, okay.
Not that you wear.
That is connected to it.
Something that's going to go into you.
Oh, okay.
But not like porcelain.
Porcelain, no.
No.
Unless it's glazed on the outside. If it's glazed,
Nothing in glaze.
if it's they melt glass,
Okay.
glass over the porcelain. So then you should be teveled also without a bracha because it's. But the point is this: when you go from Chol to Kodesh, just stop. All Chodesh, you have to realize I'm now leaving a lower level, going into a higher spiritual level. Therefore, I have to have preparation. Preparation is try to remove the carcass of tumah by tefillah and mikvah. That is the proper way to do it.
What about transplantation of Chazir? Heart.
A heart transplantation.
From Chazir.
So what could
happened, and it lasted.
I never heard of the. It's an interesting question. What can you, if you can't tevel it in the mikvah, you probably ruin it. We get full of bacteria. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that. Tevel something a part of a. I never heard the shaila even, but it's an interesting question. You're going to take it from a chazir or from a guy. Take somebody of a guy and use his heart, whatever it is, and put it into a Jew. It's a good question. It's a very. I mean, I don't know what you could do to.
Where would the mikvah take care of it?
Huh? No, I would say it would, but I don't know if you could medically do that.
No, the mikvah after you get it.
Oh, after you get it, to go to the mikvah. Oh, man, could be. Could be. All right. Yeah, all right.
Rabbi, I got one in my heart.
Excuse me?
I got one in my heart.
What do you have in your heart?
And my stem shel chazir.
Yeah.
You know what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to go to the mikvah?
Well, Avadia had a good idea, Avadia.
You can have. You can't harm.
Well, I guarantee you won't lose anything by it. Go to the mikvah. No, but you go to the mikvah. I tell you, you have to. When you go to the mikvah, you have to go to the mikvah with a kavan, not just a stam go for a dunk because you enjoy it. A lot of people go to the mikvah because it's a nice warm water. They enjoy it. But you have to go to the mikvah.
Okay, continue hearing.
You have to go to the mikvah with a kavanah. So you want the action that you're going to do should have a goal, for purpose. So I would say, go to the mikvah. You never did it before with that kavanah. Go to the mikvah with a kavanah to be matayir, that piece of, that stem that you have, whoever it is, to be matayir it, and have a kavanah to come closer to Hashem. If that in any way made some kind of separation or some kind of a negative influence on you, you want to cancel it out, and you tevel to yourself again, to be connected, to do tshuva, come close to Hashem. It's a very good idea. Avad yishkoyach for that idea. Okay. All right, so we'll stop over here, and Mitzvah Hashem, we'll see each other again next Sunday.
Anyway,
Yeah.